안녕하세요. 터미입니다. Let's have fun learning an exciting language, Korean. The theme of today's class is 생일이 언제예요? When is your birthday? The grammar we will learn is the object marker, 을, 늘, how to count numbers, and the expression 네요. Isn't it? After completing today's course, you will be able to tell your birthday to others by using numbers. These expressions often appear on the topic 1, level 1 and 2. So if you want to pass the test, let's learn through it. Okay, let's study hard together, imagining ourselves achieving our dreams of being able to speak Korean fluently and become the super master of Korean. 그럼 시작할게요. The title of today's conversation is 생일이 언제예요? When is your birthday? It is a scene where Tommy and Sangmin are asking each other their birthdays. What does Tommy always do on her birthday? Let's first take a look at it with English translations together. 그럼 들어보세요.
쌍민 씨, 생일이 언제예요? 10월 17일이에요. 토미 씨는요? 저는 6월 20일이에요. 토미 씨는 생일 때 주로 뭐 해요? 친구들을 집에 초대하고 파티해요. 파티를? 우와, 좋네요.
Now, I will explain the vocabularies and phrases while reviewing the conversation sentence by sentence.
쌍민 씨, 생일이 언제예요?
The word 생일 means birthday. If you want to say happy birthday, you say 생일 축하합니다. By the way, this is a polite form. 언제 means when. Let's briefly go over how to say the 5 W's and 1 H in Korean. 언제 is when. 어디 is where. 누구 is who. 무엇 is what. 왜 is why. And 어떻게 is how.
10월 17일이에요. 토미 씨는요?
터미 씨는요 means how about you, Tommy? Remember that having yo in the end makes the sentence polite.
토미 씨는 생일 때 주로 뭐 해요?
때 means time. Korean tends to omit the particle 의 of in the conversation often. So it's more natural to say 생일 때 when you want to say at the time of your birthday and 휴일 때 at the time of your holiday. The word 주로 means usually. For example, 저는 주로 집에서 일해요 means I usually work at home.
친구들을 집에 초대하고 파티해요.
친구 means friend. In English, you add s for plural, like friends, right? In Korean, the concept of singular and plural is not as clear as in English. So if you say just 친구, the person listening might be unsure whether you are talking about one friend or two friends. So when you want to express several friends, you add 들, plural, s, and say 친구들, friends. 초대하다 means to invite. 파티하다 means to have a party.
파티를? 우와, 좋네요.
우와 means wow. Women often use 어머, which sounds more feminine, but 우와 is commonly used by both men and women. Next is the grammar lesson. First, we will learn about the object marker, 을, 늘. You use this one to make sure that you are talking about an object of the sentence. Tommy, what is the object? It is like a thing? No, this is a grammatical term. I will give you an example. If I say, I love Korean food, the subject is I, and the verb is love. and the object of the verb is Korean food. In Korean, you can say 저는 한국 음식을 좋아해요. Here, 저는 is I as a subject and 한국 음식을 is Korean food as an object and 좋아해요 means love as a verb. As you can see, I used the object marker 을 right after the object of the verb 한국 음식. I will show you how to use the object marker 을, 늘. When a noun has a final consonant in the last letter, you use 을. When a noun does not have a final consonant in the last letter, you use 를. First, let's go over a couple of examples with a final consonant. 친구들을 집에 초대하고 파티해요. I invite friends to my house and have a party. In this case, there is a final consonant in 들 of the word 친구들. So it becomes 친구들을. Let's take a look at another example. 저는 책을 삽니다. I buy a book. In this sentence, 책 has a final consonant. So it becomes 책을. Next, let's check a couple of examples without final consonants. 파티를? 우와, 좋네요. Party? Wow, that's nice, isn't it? Here, parties, T does not have a final consonant. So you add 를 to say 파티를. 상민 omitted 해요 in the sentence. So the actual whole sentence would be 파티를 해요? Here is another example. 저는 김치를 먹습니다. I eat kimchi. In this sentence, 치 in the word 김치 does not have a final consonant. So it becomes 김치를. Quiz! Now let's take a quiz to deepen our understanding. Which of 을, 를 goes into the parentheses? 밥 먹고 지하철 타고 여자친구 만납니다. I will have a meal, take the subway and meet my girlfriend. Number 1, 을, 를. Number 2, 를. The answer is number 1. Did you get it? I will explain now. First, 밥, meal has a final consonant. So you use 을 to make 밥을. Next, 지하철, subway also has a final consonant. So you add 을 and say 지하철을. Lastly, 여자친구, girlfriend does not have a final consonant. So you just add 를 to make 여자친구를. Together, you read it as 밥을 먹고 지하철을 타고 여자친구를 만납니다. Number 2 is the opposite of number 1, so it is wrong.
Oh!
Now, let's learn about Sino-Korean numbers. Sino-Korean numbers? What's that? I will explain now. In Korean, there are 2 counting systems. One is called Sino-Korean numbers, and the other is native Korean numbers. Korean use both numbers depending on the situation. Today, we are going to learn Sino-Korean numbers. Let's count Sino-Korean numbers together in a loud voice. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, 100, 1000, 만, Next, let's take a look at the counting words, counters, that Korean use with Sino-Korean numbers. Counters come after numbers such as month and date in English. Let's see it together. 년 means year, and you read 1년, 1 year. 2년, 2 years. 일 means day, and you read 1일, 1 day, first. 2일, 2 days, second. 번 means number, and you read 1번, number 1, 2번, number 2. 층 means floor, and you read 1층, first floor. 2층, second floor. Next, let's count month. What is the counter for month? In English, we call them January, February, March, and so on. In Korean, January is the first month, so we call it 1월. Number plus 월. February is the second month, so we call it 2월, and so on. Before we go over all of them, I want to tell you that Korean pronounce 2 months differently. They are June and October that were introduced in the conversation. 6 is 6, so it should be 6월 technically, but 6월 is hard to pronounce, right? So Korean people get rid of 기역 and say 6월 instead. 10 is 10, so it should be 10월 technically. But again, it is a little bit hard to pronounce, so Korean remove pi읍 and you say 10월. 6월, 10월. Don't forget! Then let's say from January to December, being aware of these 2 exceptions, 6월 and 10월. I will read now. 1월, 2월, 3월, 4월, 5월, 6월, 7월, 8월, 9월, 10월, 11월, 12월. Okay, you got it? Quiz! Now let's have a quiz and deepen our understanding. How do you read these numbers? 365. Number 1, 365. Number 2, 365. The answer is number 1, 365. Number 2 is wrong because 6 became you. 6 changes to you when you say June, 6월. The next grammar is 네요. You use this to express surprise or admiration, and you can replace this 네요 to 해요 or 에요. It is something, isn't it, in English? But in Korean, you're not asking a question. There are 3 important points to remember about 네요. Point 1, with or without a final consonant, the sentence is verb or adjective plus 네요. Point 2, when the final consonant of the stem of verb is real, you remove real. Point 3, for nouns with a final consonant, you add 이네요. For nouns without a final consonant, you add 네요. Let's start with learning point 1 in detail. Verb or adjective plus 네요 is very simple concept. Just add 네요 to the stem of verbs or adjectives. For example, 요즘은 날씨가 좋네요. The weather is very nice these days, isn't it? The original form of 좋네요, it's nice, is 좋다, to be nice. So when you add 네요 to the stem, it becomes 좋네요. Next, in the sentence, 한국말 정말 잘하네요. You speak Korean very well, don't you? On the stem of 잘하다, to be good at, you add 네요 to say 잘하네요. Like this, regardless of a final consonant, simply add 네요 to the stem of a verb or adjective to make a sentence. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Point 2. When the final consonant of the stem is real, you drop real. But one thing you have to be aware is real final consonant. When there is real in the final consonant of the stem of verbs, you remove real. Typical examples are 만들다, to make, and 알다, to know. Let's take a look at an example. 종이 비행기를 정말 잘 만드네요. You can make paper airplanes really well, can't you? Here, you get rid of real of 만들다 and add 네요 to say 만드네요. Point 3 is when you add 네요 to a noun. In this case, if there is a final consonant, you add 이네요. And when there is no final consonant, you add 네요. Let's take a look at a word with a final consonant first. 아버님이네요. He's your father, isn't he? Here, 님 of the word 아버님 has a final consonant. So you add 이네요 to say 아버님이네요. He's your father, isn't he? Then let's check the word without a final consonant. 김치네요. It's kimchi, isn't it? Here, 치 of the word kimchi does not have a final consonant. So you add 네요 to say 김치네요. It's kimchi, isn't it? Quiz! Now let's take a quiz. What goes in the parentheses? 오늘은 호박죽. It's pumpkin porridge today, isn't it? Number 1, 이네요. Number 2, 네요. The answer is number 1. 호박죽 is a noun meaning pumpkin porridge. Since 죽 has a final consonant, you add 이네요 to say 호박죽이네요. How about the next question? 애기들이 잘. The children are playing very well, aren't they? Number 1, 노네요. Number 2, 넓네요. The answer is number 1. The verb 놀다, to play, is used here. You get rid of the final consonant real from the stem and it becomes 노네요.
Oh!
Now, let's take a look at the conversation again, but this time only in Korean. You should be able to understand it much better than the beginning. 그럼 확인해보세요.
쌍민 씨, 생일이 언제예요? 10월 17일이에요. 토미 씨는요? 저는 6월 20일이에요. 토미 씨는 생일 때 주로 뭐 해요? 친구들을 집에 초대하고 파티해요. 파티를? 우와, 좋네요.
Now, let's try reading it aloud. This is one of the only times you can make an output, so please don't skip it, but read it aloud. 그럼 큰 소리로 읽어보세요.
쌍민 씨, 생일이 언제예요? 10월 17일이에요. 토미 씨는요? 저는 6월 20일이에요. 토미 씨는 생일 때 주로 뭐 해요? 친구들을 집에 초대하고 파티해요. 파티를? 우와, 좋네요.
Good job! Be sure to read it aloud 5 times. Now, I will announce your favorite homework. We have 2 assignments as usual. In the first sentence, write your birthday in Hangul instead of numbers. For example, 제 생일은 2004년 8월 7일입니다. My birthday is August 7, 2004. In the second sentence, let's use the expression 을 to describe what you usually do on your birthday. For example, I would write 생일 때는 미역국을 먹어요. I eat seaweed soup on my birthday. The second homework is memorizing vocabulary. Please memorize 40 words from page 3, number 201 to 240 on the beginner's word list. At the end of this page, you can take this 40-word quiz. So after you memorize 40 words, please challenge yourself. Also, this is the 15th lesson, so I have prepared a test for you. Yay! Lesson number 11 to 15 will be on the test. I added a lot of examples that you learned from my videos. By taking my test, you can enhance your reading skills for topic 1. I will put a link in the description section below. I hope many of you will come to visit my website to check how much you understand my lesson. Okay, that's all for today. Thank you for watching. 그럼 오늘도 행복 가득, 웃음 가득한 하루 되세요.